You're watching ZTV.
Hello, dear ones, and welcome. My name is Zari from ZariBanks.co. I hope you are having a wonderful and blessed Tibet 5777. That's January 2017. I'm continuing speaking about covenant because we know God is a covenant keeping God, and we want to know the terms of our covenant so that we can receive the fullness of manifestation of every contract that we enter into with God Most High. He is faithful. He is faithful to do His part as long as we do our part. Last time in the first video, covenant terms, I spoke about how to enact a covenant and what we have to do so that covenants become activated in our lives. And I mentioned at the end of the video that next time I would talk about, well, what happens if you do your part and then we automatically know God's going to do His part to fulfill the covenant because He has to. It's the law. Once a covenant becomes activated, it's a contract recorded in heaven. When you say, yes, Lord, I'm coming into agreement with you. Yes, I'm going to perform this. Then an angel goes as a witness up to heaven to verify that you have performed your obligations of the covenant. And then God is automatically obligated to fulfill his portion of it because his word can't return void. He has to do everything that he's spoken that he would do. So if you do your part, he's guaranteed to do his part. But every once in a while the enemy will try to come in and block things so that you're not receiving the manifestation that you're supposed to have. And when that happens, what do? Well, if the enemy comes in and tries to stop something that God has already activated for you because you've done your part, you've fulfilled your obligations and faithfully obeyed, then that is illegal because covenants are greater contracts. They're contracts, but they're greater because they come from God Most High. So when the enemy comes in and tries to block or stop or hinder or negatively affect the manifestation of your covenant blessing, your covenant right, that's an illegal attack. And then what you do is you take that to the court of heaven and you say, I need some justice and I need some recompense because I did what I was supposed to do, and now the enemy is stopping the performance or the fulfillment of me receiving manifestation of this covenant promise in my life. You take that to the court of heaven. Jesus is your advocate, we learn in the Bible. You get a judgment in your favor, and the Bible says in Luke 18 that God will give you a judgment in your favor quickly. It says he will do it quickly if you call out to him day and night so that you can get your recompense. You can do that, and then you supersede. You go right to the court of heaven. Don't waste time trying to bind and rebuke the enemy in this instance. When you know you have the legal right, you don't even have to argue on the natural level with the enemy. You supersede, go right to the court of heaven, get your verdict in your case in your favor, get the revelation that you need from the Lord, and then you move on from there. Don't forget to thank and praise, thank and praise, thank and praise, thank and praise, because he has judged in your favor. He's fulfilled his portion of the covenant, and now it's you calling in the manifestation after you give him that thanks and that praise and you've received that verdict from the court of heaven. God is a covenant keeping God. You need to understand covenant. You need to enforce covenant. There are angels that you can loose according to Matthew 18:18 to go specifically and defend your covenant rights. You need to know what you're supposed to be doing. You need to know your rights, and you need to move in those rights. That's what ruling and reigning as a king and priest of God is that you're actually enforcing your covenant rights for your life. That's dominion on the earth. All right, I pray something in this video blessed you. I want to remind you, if you want to learn about covenant, to get my book that's called The Supernatural. Chapter 10 is called Covenant. Membership has its benefits. Covenant, if you understand covenant, you will, there'll be less instances of you breaking covenant in your life because you'll realize that it brings a curse on you, and you will have more success living Bible life, living abundant life, because the Bible is a book of covenant. But you have to understand it. You have to know what's available to you, right? If you don't have any knowledge of something, it's no use to you. There's always that famous story or that little analogy, metaphor, whatever, that's always spoken about in churches. Well, if somebody put $1 million in your account but they didn't tell you that it was there and you didn't go look, then it's not going to do you any good, right? It's just sitting there. It's available to you, but you're not actually taking possession of it. You're not making use of it. Same thing with covenant. If you don't know that God is a covenant keeping God, you don't know the terms of your covenant, you don't know how to enforce your covenant, then you won't do that, and you will be deficient in an area of your Christian life, and that shouldn't be happening with all the promises that we have in the Word, and because of who Jesus Christ is, in Himself, but also in us and through us to be witnesses of heaven. All right, take care and God bless you.